Hello everyone, my name is Dakota Morgan. My project for this semester in HCI 580 was the MYO armband, as you can see here. My goal for the project was to come up with an interface for the computer which would allow me to work and find say a PDF document of a part file, be able to open that file, navigate it, and get to the point where I can find that particular dimension or part of the file I need for that portion of the machining. This project would extend to not only machinists, but anyone that works in a dirty environment, such as a surgeon, for example, would be a very useful thing for them to use. So without further ado, I will, as you can see here, turn on the armband. As you can see in the bottom corner of the screen here, you can see the gestures. So I can do the thumb to pinky, flared fingers, the fist, wave out, wave in, and the armband is quite apt at recognizing those gestures. And so one thing I found when I was testing out the armband was that the native unlocking gesture, which was a thumb to pinky, was really easy to accidentally hit. And so I changed it to a 2-second delay on the wave in, which is not something that you typically do, just picking up things or whatever. And so as you can see here, the armband is now unlocked. I have full control of the mouse, which lets me go in and open up any file I need to. And so here's my PowerPoint. As you can see here, I'm also controlling this entire show completely with my hands off the computer, which is kind of the end goal of the project. Thalmic Labs, they were funded or started about 2 years ago. They started out as a company up in Canada. Their goal was to essentially come up with a new novel way of interfacing with a computer, and they decided that the current methods of the glove, which we saw in class, and a lot of the other visual feedback kind of systems were still a bit cumbersome for the average person. And so their end idea was to come up with a wearable that works with the same idea as when you go to the hospital, you'll have these stickers on over your heart. And what those do, as you can see here, is a little metal tab. And those will sense the muscle movements of your heart. And so they use that same concept in this armband, but instead of over your heart, it's over the forearm. And there's 8 different black pods here. You can see they went from the initial idea back in 2012 to their alpha version, which was available late last year. And they're currently on their developer version, which has been shipping out since about May. The developer option has many functions that it comes with natively. It can support control of Netflix, PowerPoint, VLC media player, iTunes, and the like. So out of the box, it comes with enough support for your average user. But of course, for 580, we want to go beyond that. And so we go to our next scope here. As you can see here, as you can see here, the control of it. So when you do the gestures, you'll have all these different options. And so each pose will have a different gesture to it. And so each pose will do a different thing with the armband, and the armband recognizes, as you can see in the waveforms up here, each gesture will be slightly different visually. And so that's what the armband uses to tell whether you're doing the wave in, wave out, or the fist, or the fingers spread. And as for the coding of the armband, this is an example of one of my older scripts. This one here kind of covers the basic idea, as you can see. It goes through, first of all, starts out some of the global variables. And these here are what tell me to, say, give it a delay of 2 seconds or 3 seconds. And then you can go down further. This portion here tells you that only activate if you're not in PowerPoint or not in Adobe. And then going beyond that, you have all the options that tell you to say, hey, if you do the fists or the finger spread, then go on and do this next sub function. And essentially, going through the code, it's all if-then statements. So if you do this gesture, do this key command, or turn the mouse on and do this. And that's what really makes this armband a really fun thing to work with, is the fact that anything you can do with a normal keyboard and mouse, you can do with a series of gestures. And as you can see here, Micro from Dirty Jobs is kind of one of the ideas for my inspiration. I have tested this out in the real world applications. I've done dishes, worked in the machine shop, a lot of hands-on dirty jobs, and it actually works quite well for a lot of those. That was one of the reasons I had switched from the typical thumb to pinky gesture unlock to the full wave in for 3 seconds, is because the fact that a lot of times you just accidentally do that gesture, and you'd have to stop worrying about it and worrying about what you're doing and go back and do the unlock gesture or the lock gesture again. And so without further ado, we'll go on to the actual portion of my project, which I wanted to have the end result as. Once this unlocks again. And so going here, we can go ahead and close the PowerPoint pretty easily. Go back to the desktop, or if you were on a shop computer, you have the same idea. You can go into the files, whichever one you need. For example, this one here is the first floor of Howe Hall. You can kind of see just overall how it works. You get the mouse movement, and then I can just zoom in easily by waving in, or zoom out just as easily by spreading my fingers. And so that allows me to get zoomed in to the point where I want. So I can zoom in, say for example, to here. I can put my fist palm out and then control it with the 2-axis mouse movement. And so similar to kind of the Minority Report idea, you just push your hand out there and move the screen where you want it to go. And then, for example, we can go over to here to our classroom in 1242, and you kind of just see the overall layout here. And then once you're done, if you say you found your part that you want to look at more accurately, you can just do the thumb to pinky for the 2 seconds. It'll lock the armband, and now I can do whatever, have my part, work on the machine. And even if I accidentally do any of these gestures you see here, nothing's going to happen to the screen because it's locked in, and I can do what I want to do. And if I need to find a different part, I can go back in here, unlock the armband, and just for a random example, I have an old photo that I had made here. This here is a image. If it'll open. Oh, it minimized on me. So this here is an image which just appeared. So the other example, we'll open it up, Explorer. You have the option here. You can just open it up, go into the folders, and go find what you need to find. And so I can go into my pictures folder here, go find the file I need to find. I can double click it with thumb to pinky, open the file completely, and once it loads, which takes a moment, it's a very, very large picture, and go in here, and the same way I can control a PDF document, I can also control images. So I can zoom in here and find whatever I need to find. The script I have currently is able to go in and fully control any program, which is a bit nicer than what I was showing even last week, which this allows control of Windows Media Player, Windows Photo Viewer, PDF documents, even Internet Explorer, Chrome. It allows you to go in and still control everything as you would need to, and then unlock the documents. And so like here, if you can see, this is just an example option. I mean, go in here, zoom in as far as you want, and see all the photos. This is a mosaic I made last year of the previous solar car. And so it's just several images in a giant file. So you can kind of zoom in, see what you need to see, and then go back to what you need to do. And so going back to the documents here, it's pretty easy. As you can see, it goes back and forth between all our programs pretty flawlessly. You can go in and find whatever you need to find. Go into your documents or wherever you have your files, and find your part, open the part, and then navigate it quite easily. The one downside, as you can see a couple of times I've had to do the unlock gesture again, is occasionally the gestures will stick. So every once in a while it'll stick on the lock pose, which has happened twice, and you can just quickly unlock it again and go back and control whatever you need to control. So as for the more in-depth version of how the armband works, this program here is just a simple file that they bundle with the armband SDK. And this here kind of shows the pitch, roll, and yaw. And as you can see here, as I move the armband, the bars on the screen will move with the armband. And it also shows the gestures. This here is basically what the armband sees. And so whenever you do all the movements for the mouse and all the poses, this is what the armband is interpreting. And so these are the codes you'll send out to your computer once you have everything done. And that about wraps it up. That's kind of the overall idea of my project. I believe it turned out quite well. I have tested this out in real-world conditions, and everything seemed to work out great. Overall, I was very pleased with the project. I saw the idea last year when I was recording HCI 580, and it kind of really inspired me to get into the class. And that's kind of the main reason I came to this class, was to work with this armband. And I think it's proven to be quite a useful and quite an entertaining interaction device with the computer. Thank you.